academic tips and advice video, and I've already uploaded a relationship and dating advice video and also a lookbook, so it'd be great if you guys can go check that out. And yeah, and also if you want to win a shout out in my next video, go ahead, like this video, comment, and subscribe. So let's get started with the video. Tip number 1. Eat a really good breakfast and lunch because it'll be so much easier to focus in class and you won't be all grumpy and stuff. And also bring some snacks to eat before lunchtime if you know you get hungry and stuff. So yeah, bring snacks. Oh, and water because you want to be hydrated. Tip number 2. This is not really academic, but it might help you get out of the house earlier and on time, and it's to pick out your clothes the night before so in the morning you're not like scrambling to find an outfit. Tip number 3. Use an agenda. Using an agenda will help you like know when the due dates are. If you have like a big project, you can break your project down into like separate days. So like maybe one day you work on this, the other day you work on that, and the third day you work on that. A really good thing to do is if you have a big project, you can give yourself an earlier due date like for yourself, so you know it's like you get it out of the way and you can stop like worrying about it. Along with spreading out your work days for projects, you can also spread out the days you want to study. You also want to study ahead of time, especially if you're in like extracurriculars, because you know rehearsal and stuff, like the times can be all like wonky. So like you want to give yourself at least 2 days before the test. I'm like really guilty of studying the night before, but like when you give yourself more days to study, kind of like generate questions that you can ask your teacher. So like if you study a couple days ahead, you'll find questions or problems or clarifications that you need, and you can just write those down and like ask your teacher, so when the test comes you know what's going on, you know. Tip number 4. Stay on top of your work. I'm really guilty of procrastinating, but a thing you can try out is try setting like a timer for an hour and work for a whole entire hour and then take a break. And yeah, while you're working, it's a good idea to like turn off your Wi-Fi and turn off your phone so you're not distracted. Do all of your homework. Like if you don't study, you don't blah blah blah, at least do your homework so you get the credit and the points. Like, just do your homework, you'll get the points and you'll also learn what you need to know for the test. Tip number 5. Take classes that you know you will do well in. Honestly, if you can't get a 4.0 in regular classes, I don't think you should be taking that many APs. I mean, it's good to challenge yourself, like maybe take 1 or 2 in a subject that you know you will excel in, but don't be like, I don't know. I feel like way too many people are taking APs that should not be taking APs. Like, that's just my opinion. Like, not to judge or anything, but like honestly, you shouldn't take APs that you know you can't handle. Like you think you will work hard, but you will not, okay? Like, what am I saying? Tip number 6, be really organized and keep all your stuff so when finals comes, you have all your stuff to review. And a good way to store all your papers is using like an accordion folder like this. So it just looks like this. There's like a bunch of pockets, so you can just put all your old work in here so you can look at it when finals comes. Tip number 7, talk to your classmates, try to make friends, so when you're sick you can ask them like on Facebook or text them like, hey, what was the homework? And yeah, when you're sick, do your homework at home because you don't want to come back the next day and then ask the teacher, and then it's just like gonna pile up. So just ask your friend on Facebook and say like, oh, what was the homework? Can you please tell me? Thank you, blah blah blah. Tip number 8. So this tip is gonna kind of break down the subjects. So I'm gonna start off with buy textbooks so you can like underline and highlight, especially if it's like a class that like it's not your strongest subject, or if it's like a hard class, you know, you might want to buy the textbook so like you can actually highlight and underline. Like, I don't know, you see how like I like highlighted and underlined. Like for this class we had quizzes like almost every day, so like this was really helpful. And I feel like when you highlight and underline, you don't really have to write notes, you know, because like I used to write notes before I got this book, and it was just like crazy because I was just writing down way too much and it was taking so long. It would take an hour to write notes for like 5 pages of reading, so it's like a lot easier to like highlight, because like you can just look at this and you're not like creating something new, if you know what I mean. You just look at this. For English, we all get assigned like reading books, and it's really important to stay on top of your reading, or else it's just gonna pile and pile. Like if your teacher like says, okay, tonight read chapter 1 through 3, go read chapter 1 through 3, or else it's just gonna pile and pile, and you're gonna wait until the last minute. It's just gonna be like 100 chapters, and it's just gonna be way too much. So like, stay on top of your reading. Again, kind of going along with the textbook thing, like a good thing to do is like buy your book, and like so you can underline and stuff. So like you can kind of see I underlined and like wrote tiny notes. Yeah, I don't know, I'm a big fan of annotating and writing and underlining. Like even if the teacher doesn't ask me to, it helps me understand the book way more. Sometimes you can also find the audiobook online if you Google it, or you can search on YouTube and you can read along and listen to the audio. But sometimes I feel like when I do that, I'm just like listening, but I'm not really paying attention, so it's like passive reading. I don't know if that's the right term, but you know what I mean. In English, you might get assigned essays, and it's a really good idea, again, to like break it down. The night before, you're just writing the entire essay. Like, no, don't do that. Break it down into little chunks, and you can give yourself an earlier due date, so like you can feel more at ease. For math, you also want to stay on top of math, because like once you're behind in math, you are behind in math, and it's really hard to catch up. Like you have to work so much harder to catch up than if you just like learned it the way through. A really good website for math is slater.com, and I'll write a text box somewhere over here. And that website has like answer keys, so it's like really helpful, so you can check your answers. I personally really like to like check every single question. Like right after I do it, I check the answer, and I kind of think that slows you down, but it saves more time in the long run, because then you might have missed a step or something, so you know you are doing everything right. Also with math, you should really try to do your math problems without any notes or any answer key or whatever, because on the day of the test you're not going to have any of that, and it's going to be you and your brain, and you gotta practice. If your math teacher is nice enough to give you a review guide, do that thing over and over and over, and also ask for an answer key so you know you're getting your answers right. Like I can't believe like some math teachers, they don't give you the answer key. Like bruh, I need to check my answers, because I find myself like making mistakes when I do it without the answer key, because I'm using my brain, and sometimes I forget the steps or I leave out a step. And yeah, so do that review guide with the answer key and without the answer key, alone by yourself with only your brain. When your math teacher hands you back a task, be kind of sneaky and maybe like snap a picture of it, so you have a set of problems that you can use to review for finals. If your teacher is super nice, they'll let you keep the math test, so like you can always ask your teacher if you can see your math test or your math quizzes, so you know what you did wrong and see what kind of problems you might see later in the future in your finals. For your history and science classes, go on Google and look for like PowerPoints and review guides, and maybe like test even. Like even though it won't really be like your actual test, it'll kind of like give you an idea, you know. It might give you like a test of the key terms you need to know, so that might be helpful. Like legit for my econ class and my bio class, like you know, you get those little worksheets. Like I found like the entire answer key online, and it was just saved a lot of time. If you guys are doing like a review day or like a review game, it's a good idea to like write down notes so you know like stuff that might appear on your test. For presentations, it's always a good idea to go first or like near the beginning, so your teacher grades easier on you, because like if you go last, like your teacher is gonna compare you to everyone else, and like if the first person kind of made mistakes and you're going last, you should have caught on to those mistakes and fixed your mistakes, and you should probably be like perfect if you're going last. You know, save the best for last. The internet has so many sources. On Facebook, you can create like little groups of your classes. Say like you have a really hard teacher or something, you know, you can make a Facebook group, or like someone else probably will make the Facebook group, and like you guys can like write on the wall like, hey, what was the homework, blah 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 blah. And yeah, those are really helpful. But don't depend on those all the time, because I find it really annoying when people post like what's the homework like every single day. Like, that's what your agenda is for. You guys probably already heard of Schmoop and Spark Notes, and those are helpful for when you have a reading assignment and like say you didn't really get the big picture, so you can read those. Another helpful website is EasyBib. It is a website that creates bibliographies so you don't have to do like the crazy formatting and everything. Tip number 9. Do extra credit. Even though you think you don't need it, it is really helpful, and it gives you like a cushion. So like say you do a 10-point extra credit like on the next test, like if you didn't get the chapter at all, it will help you. So do all your extra credit. Teachers always say that the students that don't need extra credit always do it, and the students that need extra credit never do it. So just always do it just to be safe. And who doesn't like having a little bit higher of a grade? Like say like you have an A, who doesn't want an A+? 10. Taking the SAT and ACT. I never took the ACT, but I did take the SAT, and my tip to you is don't get frustrated. Like, everyone has a different learning speed, and you have to like keep going and building the skills and whatnot. If your parents are like crazy and they put you in SAT classes, take the class seriously, because I had to take 2 summers of SAT classes, like, and that was not fun, but like it paid off in the end. Don't compare your SAT score to other people's, because like some people, they might be starting at a really like high score. Just don't compare yourself to them. The only person you should be comparing yourself to is the person you were yesterday. So just try to create like baby goals. Say like you have a 1700, you want to say, okay, next week I want to go to like an 1800. Like, don't be like starting at like a 1200 and be like, I want a 2400. You know, that's just unrealistic, and it just, don't be so hard on yourself. Tip number 11. Go out and get experience. Like, join extracurriculars, do volunteer, internships, blah blah blah. Just go out and get experience. When it comes to writing your essays for colleges and blah blah blah, it's just a lot easier to write when you know all these things have happened in the course of your 4 years, and it's just so much easier to write. This one is kind of obvious, but having leadership roles in a club or blah 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 looks good on your application. And I went to this college kind of seminar thing, and one thing that colleges really look for is leadership. Tip number 12. Ask your teacher for help, even if you feel super annoying. Like, I was a kid raising my hand, like asking questions. Like, for one of my Chinese classes, I think it was like Chinese 1, sometimes we would be quizzed on characters, and like sometimes, like a lot of the times, the teacher would take out some of the characters that we don't need to study, and I would always ask like, oh, what characters are not going to be on the quiz? And if I haven't asked, then I would probably like study all the characters just to make sure that I'm good for the quiz, and other people would probably have to like study all those characters too. So like, don't be afraid to be annoying. I mean, what do you care more about, like being annoying or like having a good grade in the class? Tip number 13. Don't avoid tests. If you have a test that you're not prepared for, like, I recommend not to avoid it, because you'll forget it even more in like a couple days on the day that you have to retake it. And who knows, you might not even study if you take that extra day to like study, but you're not gonna study, trust me. Just try not to avoid tests, because like it's really like lonely when you're the only one taking the test, and you might have to take it in a noisy classroom or like in someone else's classroom, and it's just like, it's way better when you're with everyone else, because like everyone else is taking the test, everyone's feeling the same way. Tip number 14. Get to know your teachers if you want to apply to private schools. And I personally never really talked to my teachers. I should really change that, but like ever since I was little, I guess, I never really was close to teachers. I don't know. And I did not apply to privates, but luckily, like like way earlier, I was thinking about applying to privates, and like my English teacher had like a whole list that you can sign up if you want a letter of recommendation. I wrote my name. Months later, I got an email from her with like other people, and it was like saying like, oh, I will write your letter of rec. And I just emailed her back like saying, oh, I'm not applying to privates anymore. So yeah, it kind of pays off to be a good student, even if you're kind of shy and you don't want to talk to the teacher, you know. Thank you for watching. I hope this guys helped you out, and good luck in school. Please follow me on Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye!